Hey, Michael.
Val the Voice. I just watched Monique on Netflix, and I know you started doing stand up too. So, is there anything that you want to reveal?
Yes, it sure is. I have been waiting all my life to reveal my secret.
Okay, speak, sister.
I
Okay, yes,
am
I'm super supportive. You know what? I'm with you.
gaining gaining subscribers every day because my name is Val.
Bye bye.
Oh my gosh. Here we go.
Bye, Monique. Hey. Welcome back. Hello. Hello, people, beautiful, wonderful human beings or bots watching us in Russia. This is Interludes Extra Talk on Tuesday with Val, the voice Johnson, and little old me, the one with the big head on the left. The one on the right who makes questionable NCAA bracket predictions. He'll
Wait
be
a
with us
minute.
later on.
Uh, wha- we gonna throw him under the bus before he gets
Everybody's
here?
going under the bus today.
Oh
It's a
no.
happy day. It's
Oh
one of my
my.
favorite days in the year. Today is April 4th, the
Mhm.
day that most people don't even think about the history of anymore because that's the kind of world we live in. Because history is being made every single day, isn't it? Speaking of which, my twin, Alvin Bragg, I think, may have overstepped. So, my thoughts and prayers are with Alvin Bragg tonight because I don't know if any of those counts are gonna stick. But it was a nice
Oh, we oh,
idea.
we're talking about Donald. I didn't know who you were talking about at first, 'cause I'm just kinda
Hey, you
like,
know what?
"Where
Hey,
are
you know
you
what?
going?"
There's so much going on, Val. You know what? I've been waiting all afternoon to hear what was gonna come out of your mouth tonight. Because when you first suggested tonight that for the show, I was thinking that this is either going to be terrific or be a terrible train wreck. And I think the train's going off the rails already. So I think that this tonight, the topic that we have, might be the second biggest mistake of the day. That one that doesn't involve Donald Trump.
Okay. So I'm gonna do this first.
Yeah, set
Interludes
it up.
is
That's called a
streaming
tease in the industry.
in the okay.
It's called a tease.
Okay.
I'm teasing it.
Mm-mm.
Just like Monique did her audience. She teased them,
Okay. So, Interludes is streaming every Tuesday on our YouTube channel, our
including this one.
Facebook company page, Pure Lighthouse Home to Interludes, LinkedIn, and we are now available on Pod TV Roku channel. Thank you very much, Mark Lee. If you'd like to be a sponsor on our platform, book time with us at linktr.ee/Pure Light Media. And if you're interested in starting your own platform or a fan of Talk on Tuesdays, hashtag Wamba Wednesdays, that's him right there,
That's
and
me.
our audio show, Interludes, a Pure Lighthouse production. Join us on Patreon. And I'll ask Kevin to put it in the chat. It's probably already there.
Get your
Let's see
shots on
who.
Patreon.
Yeah, so let's see who's here because you got to let me do that first before you run the train off the tracks. All
Nah, it's
right.
already going. It was
I know,
going
but I
already.
refuse for things to go off the whatchamacallit. Okay, and Daniel's laughing at us. Come on, man. I don't believe that. Thank you.
Look how
Boy,
nice her plant looks in the back.
what happened?
How your plant looks very lovely there in the back. Not the
Yes,
other
and
one, that one.
this one right
Yeah,
here?
yeah, that one.
Yeah,
The one,
those
yeah,
those are
yeah, that one.
flowers, actually.
No,
That's a
no, the
flower.
plant, the green thing.
The
Yeah, that's
green
not.
thing?
Yeah, I guess I gotta
Okay,
look at
yes, it
you. Yeah,
does.
okay, yeah, it looks nice. It looks healthy. Is it like a rubber tree plant?
No, it is a real plant and it represents
Rubber trees
either
real.
it represents relatives who are not here anymore. That's why it's here.
Okay, rubber tree plants are real plants.
I understand that. I understand that. Oh
I mean,
my
that's what
gosh.
the ant picked up. He picked up that rubber tree plant.
Mhm.
Cause he had high hopes.
Mhm, mhm. And
Yeah,
so
oh,
we had just mentioned it a little bit briefly, but Monique is back. Did you watch it, Michael?
yeah, I actually watched it. Did you watch it, Val?
Yes, I did watch
You
it.
liar, you damn liar. You did not watch it all because you don't know the end of it. Because here, do you agree with her stance on the church, on the black church?
No, I do not.
Why?
I don't know because I didn't see the end. You're going to
You
tell
didn't
us,
see the
right?
end. Maybe. I don't know. How can you talk about it if you didn't see it?
I w-
She says so much there, and
mhm.
I am not a Monique fan. So the fact that you made me watch this, I already resent. This is as bad as trying to watch Martin Lawrence. These are two people that I really can't stand. So so I sat
Wow.
Monique today,
Mhm.
and I probably had like the third worst April 4th behind Donald Trump and Martin Luther King Jr. So here I am watching Monique on Netflix, and I'm thinking to myself, did Monique say that she would never be on Netflix again?
I think she
Didn't
did.
didn't she sue Netflix?
She did and she won.
She won. Well, why did she sue Netflix, Val?
She sued because they did offer her a comedy platform, but they were only paying her probably a fraction of what they've paid other
I actually wrote it
comedians.
down. It's $500,000. If you go to the
Half of
the state,
I know
I actually put it in on Monique.
Michael, I'm going to reach through this camera and choke you.
If only
I
you
know I
could.
I know it's a half $1,000,000. I'm just saying that that was the main crux of me wanting to bring this up is because this Netflix special finally came. I was a little upset with all of the cursing that was happening in the thing
I
because
know
it
that's
just felt
probably why you didn't watch the end of it, which I had to tolerate. And I am
Mhm.
not a prude, and I'm
Right.
certainly a heathen. But
Mhm.
it just got to the point where it's like, oh my goodness. I mean, her adjectives and adverbs are just swear words.
All
I'm,
of them.
I'm like, this got bad. So I know you didn't know what happened at the end because you probably stopped watching it. But here's
I
the
got
thing: I don't
mhm.
think you should tell anybody that they should watch it, right?
The recommendation is that you have to be someone that's been cheering for Monique and a huge fan of hers. I was a fan of hers when she was with the Parkers and then when she had her own talk show. I'm like, "Oh great, she's having a comeback." And then I come back to see this and I watched the special probably about 20 or 30 minutes in and I'm like, I can't recommend this."
Yeah, but I mean, you really, I mean, I see, that's what I thought I would say, but
Mhm.
I'm not.
You're
I
not
think
going to
that
be
people
alone.
should. I think
You
people should watch it. I think it
okay.
should be watched. I mean, obviously, you don't
Did you
watch
notice
the
that Lee
end.
Daniels? Did you notice that Lee Daniel was in the front row? So I
Of
was
course,
happy
he
the two of
was.
them have. I'm happy the two of them have made up because this
Well, they
feud.
got something in common now.
Yeah, but this feud had been going on for over a decade.
I don't know what I'm talking about, y'all.
Go ahead. What are
When
you
she
talking about?
watches the rest of it, it'll make sense. But Lee Daniels and Monique have something in common.
What do they have in common?
Well, take a look at the picture, right?
It's called they are going to be making another movie together.
No, look at the left part of the picture.
Human rights. Okay.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, it's human rights campaign.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. What can you tell us about that?
Okay, so as most people know, the Human Rights Campaign, this was an event that honors people within entertainment,
Mhm.
especially people who are either members or allies of the LGBTQTIA community.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
there you have Monique and Lee Daniels, who appropriately are there and should be there,
Mhm.
especially
Okay.
based on this special. Monique definitely needs to be there.
Right. Yeah. So I honestly thought that I honestly thought that she was going to be talking at the very beginning. She got emotional, and then I was thinking, oh my gosh, she even said that. Then I saw her just really, performing. The funniest part to me was her talking about the persons that she was in school with. I didn't know she was in special education. I didn't know that. I didn't know that she
Oh, I
was.
do.
I had.
You can't
I,
tell?
I couldn't tell.
Oh my
I
God,
couldn't
yeah,
tell.
she definitely comes off as that. I mean, she
Mm.
comes off as she had that experience. And here's why I'm saying that before people
Why?
get too upset with it.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Rock
Mm-hmm.
also was someone who was identified as having and needing special education. The
Okay.
two of them, I think, have that in common in their type of take on the world and comedy. They started in places where you see that they saw kind of what life was really like, what the world was
Mm-hmm.
really like at a very kind of young age. And and they talk about it. I mean, Chris talks about going to this new school, right? Because he based everybody hates Chris off of that. When Monique
Right.
talks about it here, she talks about going to the special ed room, getting the
Mm.
envelope, going home with
Right.
it. I mean,
Uh-huh.
either if you can't relate to that personally as somebody who's been through special education, you certainly saw the kids. I mean, if you went to class and you saw the kid get the note home, you knew what it meant. You
That
kind
meant
of
that
knew what
you're
it meant.
not, yeah, you're
And
not going with everybody else.
you ain't see them no more. They go to your school, and you don't ever see them. You knew what that
Yeah.
meant. and
Right.
and obviously, I mean, I see you came into it all happy on Monique, and I didn't. I was like, I don't want to hear her. I'm tired of her. She's not that funny to me. I saw S'more a couple of weeks ago on Netflix. S'more
Mhm.
to me is 10 times funnier than Monique talking about usually the same things. And then S'more did part of her routine was
Mhm.
giving love and props to Monique. So I knew it
Right.
was coming. I knew the Netflix special was coming because, S'more kind of played, John the Baptist to this girl's, And so I'm like, okay, it's coming. I better check for it. And then you were like, let's talk about it tonight. I'm like, Monique? Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the
Okay.
reason and so this is the reason why. I
I
read
didn't
this
know it was gonna go
article.
Rothaniel on it. I had no idea it was gonna have that kinda take,
So let
especially
me let
toward the
me let me
end.
get let me get this point in. So the reason why I wanted to talk about this was because I read this article in essence about she's a ray of hope for undervalued black women. So not that I was a person that was
She
special ed or anything like that,
she
but the threat of being placed into one of those classes did come for me. So I really identified with that part. The only thing is that because of the language, I really can't recommend it, but I wanted to see it because I was thinking, oh my gosh, she finally got a deal, and hopefully she's no longer being blackballed because now she's also going to be on a show on Stars, and I'm assuming that's BMF. I think she has a role on that as well, and so I just didn't like how she was blackballed. If you're not a fan of Monique, I get it, but it happens when there's disagreements that happen with certain people. She kept talking. She was talking against Lee Daniels. She was talking against Oprah Winfrey. She was talking against Tyler Perry. It was like a laundry list, and I was just thinking, can they just go somewhere in the back room and have a conversation and just resolve some of these issues, because I feel like things were just kind of
well, she
getting
she
out of.
tells you in the special why she was
Hmm.
like that and what was going on
Hmm.
with her, and that she was not at peace. That she
Hmm.
had essentially she was living a lie. Most of her
Hmm.
life, she was living this lie. She wasn't her authentic self. She was
Hmm.
pretending to be somebody that she wasn't. That's why she had those 3 marriages. because
Mhm.
she was pretending to be somebody that she's not. So she kept trying. Maybe it's not men. Maybe it's this man. Maybe it's not men. Maybe it's this other man. Maybe it's not
Right.
men. Maybe it's this third man. Maybe this third
So
man will change my
maybe
mind.
Or maybe,
So
but here's the thing, um, because she because she got this deal, and because she was able to have a special, I wanted to celebrate that. The thing of it is that because at one point she was kind of a champion for Black Hollywood, she had a talk show for one moment. So I'm sorry, I'm probably stuck in the past of glory days from yesteryear, and I love the Parkers, but this is a totally different Monique. But I do like how she shares her story. The language is a little rough, so my thing is like, can you really recommend it? And so when I put it on on the list for us to take a look at it, and after I watched it and got like 35 or however many minutes in, I was like, I was like, but I've already put it on the schedule, and I want to talk about her coming back. That's the main part I wanted to mention. If you saw this, it just came out midnight as of last night. So if you had a chance to see it, guys, let us know in the chat. Or if you plan on watching it, let us know in the chat. If you're not a fan at all, let us know that as well.
I
What we
didn't
gonna
know. I mean,
say?
I didn't know she was gonna say that she was bisexual. I had no idea that was coming. Had no idea that. I know you
Wow.
didn't see it. I had no idea
Mhm.
she was gonna talk about the church being such a kind of destructive force within the black community, and certainly in terms of welcoming people of different orientations. And she does
Mhm.
so very clearly, very articulately. This is where she kind of breaks away from some of the a mass of profanity that begins it, which is just part of who she is.
Mhm.
And so I can't really fault her for her language, because that is who she is. I mean, she
Right.
said that's me. Some of the jokes are funny. Some of them are really
Mhm.
raunchy and funny.
Mhm.
Um, and when she kind of talks about that moment, you said that you felt like, at some point you could understand what she was talking about, special education. I could understand what she was talking about, somebody turning to you and saying, like, I really like women, because I've had that happen. And so when somebody has turned to me and said, like, hey, I like women, let's go find a girl, it's like, that's a really interesting time, because you have to kind of decide, where you are in that relationship. And she said that to her husband. And I'm thinking, wow, his reaction could be so many different ways. And the way that she sets it up, um, I got to give her props, because one of the things I never thought that Monique was really good at, because I couldn't really stand her, was that she is a very decent, above average to exceptional storyteller. She's a really good storyteller. And she starts telling the stories that are on the second half after you turned away. And she starts telling stories about her family. She talks about her uncle, her
Uncle.
uncle, her uncle Tina.
That's
And
when I yeah, the hot dog thing, and that's just when I got
no, no,
distracted and
no,
got
no.
the
That
phone
was
call.
that's Uncle Donald.
Uncle Donald. Okay, but you got
No, no, I'm talking
there
about
was another one.
I'm talking about Uncle Tina.
Uncle Tina. Okay.
When she starts talking about Uncle Tina and the beard and everything, and she goes into that, and she goes into this really interesting thing, which I want to ask you a question about, Val.
Okay.
What she does is she sets it up as talking about her grandmother being
Mhm.
such a champion in her life, and really the reason that she was able to persevere through a lot of nonsense.
Mhm.
Nonsense from other members of her family, from the outside world, that gave her a sense of love and self-worth. That there was this little woman who said that you are mine, baby, and I love you no matter what. And that sustained her, and she felt that coming from this woman. But at the
Mhm.
same time, she saw and looked at how this woman treated one of her children.
Mhm.
Her grandmother treated one of her children in this really foul way, because of her orientation and the way that, she presented herself. and she blamed the church on that, and for
Mm.
therefore she didn't want to kind of be her authentic self because she didn't want to lose that love from this woman. And
Ah.
what I'm wondering about, two things I want to ask you about. Don't worry, I'm not going to put you on the spot or anything.
Mhm.
Is comedy over the last couple of times, the specials that stand out to me.
Mhm.
This one does, which was surprising. I didn't expect it to. And then, like, Gerard Carmichael's, questionably funny, maybe not that funny special
Kind
of
of serious.
Daniel.
Very
Yeah,
serious.
right. Because Monique takes that turn toward the end of this special.
Ah.
And she talks about why she was this way, and why she's gone through three marriages and what's happened, and
Mhm.
that she wanted to wear the pants in her marriage, as she describes it. And uh, it's a real interesting thing, and I'm wondering, what do you think about, one, comedy? Should comedy always be funny? Because I think people will be surprised when they see Monique. My name is Monique on Netflix. That it
Okay,
ain't
before I
all funny.
yeah,
One,
okay.
and then
Okay, and before
okay,
before I
yeah,
forget, and let me answer that question
yeah.
because you're
Go
gonna
ahead.
stack that up, and I'm gonna forget the
All right, yeah.
question.
Let's go.
So
Let's
let
go with
me
that one.
let me so
Let's
let
go
me
with that
answer that one. Comedy should be a mix of both, and
one.
it
Okay.
should. I feel like it definitely should make us think, and that's what makes great comedy is the ones that make you think. When I think about, and I go back far back as Richard Pryor live at the Sunset Strip, and he talked
Mhm.
about getting high and setting himself on fire. Like that was a very serious
Hilarious.
thing. Yeah, that was it, but the way he portrays that's very hilarious. But it was something that was a wake up call for him to say, "I need help,"
Yeah, I'm
and
an
he was,
addict.
"I'm an addict, and I'm admitting this to you on stage." But a lot of comedians have worked out their own either their issues and things that they're feeling on the stage, and that's something I can appreciate. That's something I definitely can appreciate. Now, your next question.
The next question, it has to do with the church. So she
Okay.
says that, I mean, and then here it makes more sense that Lee Daniels there right in the front row.
Yeah,
Now,
right in the
not
front
telling you
row,
this.
cheering her on.
Okay.
That's
Not
right.
all right.
Mhm.
Okay. So she says this,
Mhm.
and she talks about, in her ways, what the church has done in terms of making it difficult for families to stay together because there's this animosity created through religion. And I wonder, I know you to be a religious person. How
Mhm.
does it have to? I mean, it doesn't have to be that way, right? I mean, it
No.
doesn't have to be that way, does it?
No, no, it doesn't. And here's the thing. I think for I like to call it for us that are Bible thumpers, the people
Okay.
that believe in Christ, Jesus didn't beat people over the head with his thing. And I think we don't Christians don't haven't really studied the behavior of Jesus to be attractive. And what we've done is we've projected our own fears of the unknown and fears of religion and organized religion on a person and beating that person up. Like it literally says in the Bible that it's God is a loving God. He is love. That's the whole thing. And here's the thing. God wants us to love him and it be our choice to love him. But we're the ones unfortunately that'll go, but you have to wear a dress, but you have to do this, but you can't walk. This was a big one in the Baptist faith and in the church. You can't walk across the preacher area. You have to go around. You can't walk in a church with pants on. It's disrespectful. Like, where did these traditions come from? And in the black church, and this dates back to slavery, the only place that black men and black women felt respected and loved was in the church. So a lot of that, let's get organized, let's have respect for our men, let's have respect for our women in this place, let's dress up. because we're sweating on these cotton fields and getting beat down and separated from our families. And so let this church be something sacred. And then a lot of that comes from and is implied. So and here's Gardis. I'm not a big fan of Monique, but she's right. The church has condemned more people than it's saved. And that's why a lot of people are leaving the church. And unfortunately, it'll continue to happen that way until people really study out the behavior and the characteristics of Jesus, because Jesus wasn't like that. If we really understood his characteristics, we would not be, oh, you're going to hell with Jack gasoline draws if you do it. Well, why? And
And,
it's
yeah,
horrible.
in her
So
routine, I mean, and that's when
mhm,
it really rang true. And like I said, I
right.
didn't really like Monique, but
No, you say it over and over
I got a
again.
new respect for her. I got a new respect
Okay.
for her
Hmm.
on a number of different levels. And the the ability to be that, she didn't have to be that truthful. Okay. What I was expecting, Val the voice, what I was expecting when you said,
Hmm.
all right, let's have talk about Monique. I'm like, Monique, really? I'm
I
thinking like,
know.
all right, well, I know she's gonna get some in on Oprah, right? I was waiting for the Oprah Winfrey jokes to come
She
because
didn't. She
I
didn't
was
have.
gonna think it.
She didn't have the Oprah Winfrey jokes, and thank you. I wanted to say, Monique, thank you for saying that. Uh, a lot of our comedians are talented, and this was a good observation. He never quite conquered his demons, and I
Oh,
thank you
they
for
bunch of
saying
them are
that.
still working on them, right?
What was that?
I mean, I mean, all of them to some extent have something
Right.
really, you know, uh, uh, different about them. At least the ones, most of the ones that we think of as funny. And that doesn't mean you can't go into comedy unless you've had tragedy in your life. Please
Right.
don't think I'm saying that. But it's there and it shows up, and I think that
Hmm.
that's what I really, she didn't have to be as honest and truthful as she was in her special,
But she did.
and she did, and the ending is so great. I'm not gonna reveal the ending. Her last couple lines in it are really like spot on. She kind of ties in, the reason why you are surprised to see her pop up on Netflix like this. As you said,
Hmm.
obviously she's worked something out with Lee, because Lee is in the front row, cheering her on. And I just,
I but
I
see,
wish that there
ultimate,
was a way
but
that she could connect back with Oprah, because I
she
think that, I
it
mean, I
well,
think that
Michael,
there's a level of healing that really needs
it
to take
it can
place.
happen, and it should happen behind closed doors. We don't have to
Uh,
hear about it
no,
all.
I want to
No,
hear about it.
seriously.
I want to
Well,
hear about it because
you want to hear about it, but I don't.
I want to talk about it here on Interludes Extra Talk on Tuesday with Val the Voice. And speaking of people who have been authentic in telling their
Mhm.
truth this week,
What is this?
oh,
What are
that
you pointing
this
to?
is my Angel Reese impression, okay? Right
What is
here.
that?
The
What
ring
is
goes
what?
right here. This is my
What ring
LSU,
is this?
her championship ring. Her championship
Oh,
ring is gonna
wow.
go right there. Caitlin
Okay.
Clark is going right there.
All
Talk
right. So
about
we
authentic.
okay. Okay.
Tell
So
us. Yes, tell us.
Michael. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what we're gonna do is do this.
Oh, Val, you just too calm today. Just
Now,
too calm. I mean,
all
God.
up,
Can
hey,
somebody go get her a coffee or a tea with some
I
caffeine in it or something?
love it. Val on air tonight. Hey, Val, and before we
She half
jump into
asleep.
sports, if you have not seen Monique on BMF, you're missing a treat because
Thank you. Thank you.
thug,
She's on there
she playing a
already.
straight
Yeah, go
thug
ahead.
gangster role, and she rolling with it.
And you know she could, because she's a hell of an actress. I mean,
So
we
She
saw
won an
that.
if you,
Oscar. I think we forgot that
yeah,
Oh, I didn't
Monique
forget.
won an Oscar for Precious. She
I
won.
didn't forget. Netflix forgot when they tried to send some little flunkies out to audition and see if she's funny, and then and offer her $500,000, which is
Well,
what
right.
they spend on, like, what, an episode of Emily in Paris. So
Somebody,
oh,
they
well,
what's
forgot.
up, Springer? What's
What
up,
you
Springer?
do?
Yeah,
Springer's saying hello to you.
and
There
if
you
you
go.
like him, Mary J. Blige in Power,
Oh
you
my
gotta
God.
love Monique in BMF.
Oh,
And the
I
cool part
know.
about it is,
Mhm.
you got one that's fictional in Power, and you got one that's real story in BMF.
Real story, right?
Exactly. I think what is so fascinating is seeing how many of our hip hop artists have become actors and they are excellent actors. I love that Method Man and and Mary J. Blige is on Power.
Coach,
Well,
coach,
I
Mike can
find
tell
that
you, Mike,
hilarious.
Mike can tell you, athletes want to be rappers, and rappers want to be sports athletes. Come
absolutely.
on, man.
Athletes want to be musicians. Musicians want to be athletes.
There you go.
Which,
And
coach,
speaking,
coach.
and speaking of athletes,
Hey, we not even. Hey, Mike. In words of a famous line, and I'm gonna throw it out there because I know you know. Break it down.
Mhm,
Well, let it be broke.
mhm.
Let it be broke.
Forever broke. I think we need to talk about these two ladies, don't we?
No, no, no,
Or at
no, no,
least
no,
the
no,
two
no. We're not
names.
gonna jump there yet. Hold on,
We're
hold on.
not gonna
We're
jump
gonna
there
go
yet.
reverse.
Okay.
We're gonna
What
take
we
that.
doing?
Take that
Okay.
down real quick, man. We're gonna go
Okay.
reverse because
What we doing? What we doing?
we know that's the meat and potatoes of the show tonight. So we're gonna talk about the men first this much, right?
Yeah, we're
This
gonna talk
much.
about
Oh,
let's
okay.
let's
We're
at
gonna talk
least
Now,
about the
mention
men.
let's
now,
at least
now,
mention the men.
wait a minute.
I saw that Mark Lee on here earlier. Coach said, "Yeah, we had some good games in the men's and women's championships," and I'm like, "You didn't watch the men then?"
Now, hey, now I'm gonna give it to you, Margaret. Here's one thing I can give it
Great
to you is this
games. Oh, maybe
about the
not.
men. The one thing I
Okay.
can say about the men's thing, I love the San Diego's, like I said, had them, but the thing that I love most about the men's tournament this year that a lot of people didn't figure out, and I didn't know to the end, is that UConn just ran their fifth national championship in 25 years.
Yeah.
And that means they win a
Wow.
ring every 5 years. And they became the first and only program to crown three separate coaches in the same program in the last 20. Calhoun and of course Danny Hurley and my oh man, how could I forget my guy because he was on that team
Ollie,
with Ray.
Ollie,
Yeah, Ollie,
Ollie.
Kevin, Coach Ollie. So how you know, and so even though we're looking at the Dukes of the world, the Carolinas who done fell off, we're looking at all these other programs, the Gonzagas still. UConn has quietly been just making their way and putting rings on these kids' finger.
Now, coach, let's get into that. So, so how they weren't great games. No, they weren't. Here, but let's talk about UConn instead. Here, UConn, as you said, has done this with three different coaches over those years. So obviously, maybe I shouldn't say obviously. It was seen that they got three different regimes in terms of coaches, assistant coaches, what the actual program is. I mean, we're
Right.
not talking like Coach K over a bunch of time. We're not talking about Coach Izzo who made them mark on their schools. So, is it something about UConn?
Well, they get the athletes, Mike. So what happens is you still got that logo, like Duke, right? Coach K's
Okay.
gone, and our own home guy, Chicago's John Schreier, has came back and put a phenomenal year for Duke. Why is that? Because it still got that Blue Devil logo. And when you're looking at UConn, they, what sells them, unlike any other program, is a basketball school, right?
Okay.
Kentucky used to be like that. So in terms of that, they're still playing in the Big East, Mike. They still playing in the Big East. They still doing their thing. They still come to Chicago. They got New York in the background in their back door.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's still a great sell to a young man. You get a kid and you say, hey, Mr. Springer, I'm going to allow you to play here. Hey, Mr. Womble, I'm going to allow
Mhm.
you to come over here and play in New York and Chicago. Really, the same year? Oh, you got to deal with some cold weather, and then we're going to go down to D.C. Let me think. I think I want to sign. So
Okay.
they
So
still getting a
here.
recruit.
So UConn as a basketball school, and I was hearing some of that, but then on the same hand, this year, I guess maybe due to the parity, we were seeing schools like Alabama, always known as a football school. Hey,
Right.
#1 team, Miami coming in with a squad
Football
known
school.
as a
Football school.
football school. So I
Yeah.
mean, you can recruit the athletes and get them, but I mean, is it the Hurley factor, Coach?
That
I
guy
hate to
right
go into
there,
that.
that guy
Is it
right
the
there,
Hurley
Val,
part of
hold
it?
that right there. That's come from a family line of coaches,
Yeah,
Mike.
it's the Hurley
And you know
factor.
how we
Wow, I
always
didn't
say,
know that.
Yeah, you didn't know that, so Val. So it's like we
Mm.
said, we come from a family line of athletes. He come from a
Yeah,
family line of coaches. His
coach.
dad at St.
Wow.
Anthony's in New York, he's like the Ray Meyer of DePaul back in the 80s, right, Mike? You know,
Yeah, right.
he was
Yeah,
everything that was then, and Ray Meyer groomed his next couple sons to take over and Joy, who ran DePaul in the ground, obviously. But, you know, it was funny
it
because,
happens. It happens.
you know,
Georgetown went through the same thing, so it happens. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. But Val, his one son and Bobby goes and plays for Duke with none other than Grant Hill and those guys and Coach K and wins a couple rings.
Championship.
And now he's at Arizona State.
Yeah,
And then his brother is a straight coach. He tried to play ball, but not as good. He was,
yeah.
the name got him there, but he became a coach. And they said he was the better of the two in the coaching world, and obviously he proved it.
Right. And
Mhm.
and then UConn dribbling it out. Who's holding the ball at the end of the game? A Hurley. A
A
Hurley
little
for
early.
UConn.
Who's next? Only thing he got in
Next.
the game, Mike, was his claim to fame with 32 seconds in the national
Exactly.
championship.
Yeah.
And I
And
and I
catch
got
the ball last.
I got one rebound and dribbled the ball out.
That's all he needed. That's all he needed. That's all he
That's
needs
it,
to
Val.
put on his resume and say, I got championship
Yeah, that's
pedigree,
it, Val.
right?
Yeah, don't forget, Mike, I'm a Hurley.
Exactly.
Hurley.
I got championship pedigree. So,
Pedigree. Yeah,
he
I
is
can
So
go down
I
to
noticed they kept showing. I guess they kept showing his family because they were at
the
the
dad.
game.
yes,
That was
yeah.
the
Yeah,
dad.
they
That was
kept
the
The
dad.
older
showing it. I
lady.
was like,
Right.
Who is this guy?" And I'm
Yeah,
looking.
the
And
That's
I'm
elder
the
like,
dad.
"Okay,
older brother.
The dad,
Yeah.
the dad is like
oh,
the God. His dad, Val, basically, his dad is so big that when I went up to Hoop Group, which is in Pennsylvania, his dad led the camp, the basketball camp that I went to for coaches. And he's a high school guy, and there were college guys in there, and his dad led that camp. That's how
And his dad's in the Hall of Fame, right?
in the Hall of Fame as a
his
high
Yes.
school
dad is
coach.
in the Hall of
As a
Fame."
high school
Wow.
coach.
Yes. They refused to go to college because he just wanted to keep it. But I couldn't even start naming the guys, Val, that this guy's dad didn't put
Yeah.
out. Is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
It's pretty much the NBA. I
Yeah,
mean,
It's
the
pretty
NBA.
much the
it's
NBA,
pretty,
the entirety of the
yeah,
NBA.
yeah,
Oh my
pretty much.
God.
It is.
Including your guy Kyrie Irving. You know what I'm saying? So again, his list of athletes he's got, Val, is ridiculous. And so to have both of his son and now his grandson behind him, the legacy will continue.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's
Hey,
go through it.
but hey, Mike,
I'm
if
ready.
we're gonna make this hard pivot, we're gonna have to make this hard pivot on this. So we got, first of all, Mike, I don't want to jump into the meat and potatoes. So let's build the intensity up, right?
All right.
So
Let's build it up.
so
Go ahead.
all of this with the women's tournament. First of all, you got to give it to me. You and I going back and forth. I told everybody for promotional purposes only
Yes.
that
Mhm.
Iowa would get by South Carolina only
You were
because
right. You were right.
they,
Yep.
they were
Okay.
rolling. I saw
Yeah.
them rolling at the time and whatnot. But and then the one person that Mike and I didn't want to win the freaking championship, and Kim Mulkey wins it, but she was loaded. So
Yeah.
the controversy, so we're going to go from backwards to forwards. The controversy that started everything was one line in 6 words, and that was my girl Angel Reese was at the free throw line, and Caitlin Clark, who plays for Iowa, who's like baby Curry.
Wait, hold on. Say, let's go back. We can set it even back there. So here's the thing. So this thing started. It started a couple of games ago, right?
Yeah, it started right
This
before they
goes
beat
back to
South
the
Carolina.
Iowa. This goes back to
Okay.
the Iowa
South
Louisville
Carolina
game.
game. Yes.
All right.
Iowa Louisville game, right?
Yeah, Louisville game. Right. To the Louisville game. Right.
Right, because Louisville has a star player of their own, and they got some
Correct.
good guards. And then I guess Iowa's whole defensive thing was to not guard people and they continued that against South Carolina. But
Correct.
this girl on the right, who was told to be like so great in women's basketball, she's the best player, clearly the best player, broke records throughout the entire tournament. She was feeling herself. I
That's
mean,
what South did.
that's what athletes do, right, Coach?
That's what they do. They do. Hey, you go. LeBron don't come into no game apologize. Dewey Val.
Right. So
No, he does not. He
she
never
came in
does.
and she went, and did a kind of you can't see me, uh, and they couldn't see her, Coach. She had a triple double. They could
Yeah.
not see her.
and back-to-back double-doubles
She
that
was
set an
right.
NCAA record.
She was right. They could not see her. Now, what that started it because Louisville didn't take kindly to that, and then LSU sees that, and then
Well, my girl
LSU
right there with Angel Reese.
right, and then LSU, as you said, going going to South Carolina because it already started before
Mm-hmm.
Carolina. When Caitlin waves off a shooter,
And what does that mean? Here, Michael and Coach.
That
What
means
does
you can't
that
see me,
mean?
Val. That means
You can't see me.
yeah, you can do like
it's
this all day. You
shotgun.
can't see me.
Yeah, it's wrestling.
So when
Yeah.
that young lady did it, they were calling her a queen, competitive.
Oh yeah.
And
No,
It's good
before,
for the sport. She's so
right.
good for the sport.
And before we even got there, Val, so to continue what Mike was at, so they get past South Carolina, which they were supposed to have lost. Everybody was beaming up this LSU, South Carolina, SEC thing, and I knew it wasn't going to happen. It just wasn't set up.
Yeah,
so,
but nobody was supposed to beat South Carolina, so that's why it was a big deal when they beat South Carolina. They
correct.
were undefeated.
And she didn't guard anybody, as Mike said, so they forced South Carolina basically to beat themselves.
Waved them off.
Correct. So when she got to the now championship game, so again, down the stretch, everything's heated. And then I'm gonna give you the biggest quote of the night of this person later on, and I'm gonna agree with them 100%.
Okay.
So when they get to down the stretch, and Angel Reese comes off the bench in foul trouble, we got to know what the game situation was like because she did nothing in the first half. She comes on the court and she says, "This ain't no one-man show," and those 6 words set it off.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
And so after that, Caitlin was like,
"True statement, Coach. That's a true statement. This is not a one." Of
course, it is.
It's a true statement, Val. If my comeback was going to be, it may not be, but I'm going to put up 2 back-to-back 40 drops on everybody.
I mean, if you score about 75% of your team's offense, it might be a one-woman show.
And you got the green light, Val. You know, what if I gave you, Val, an opportunity to go down on Michigan Avenue and you turn off Roosevelt, right? You turn off Roosevelt on a Saturday afternoon at 3:00 downtown in the Loop, and I just gave you a green light from Michigan Avenue and Roosevelt all the way up the Gold Coast to the Hancock.
Nice.
You feel like you own the world, right?
I feel like I can do anything I want to do from Roosevelt all the way to the water tower, right?
All the way up.
The water tower.
You good. You're like, wait,
I'm good.
Wait, this can't be. This there's no way I got Michigan Avenue like this. There's no possible way.
Exactly. I got it on lock.
I got it on lock. I got it down. So fast forward, the game goes, what happened and this and that. They hug. Then Kim Mulkey, the coach of LSU, then hugs Caitlin and gives her the best compliment that any player can receive. And she told her that you are simply a generational player of our time, and we'll never see this again. And so after that, that was like beautiful. So then, quote unquote, he goes to the White House. And in the White House, Mrs. Biden.
Wait. Let me rewind it here.
Okay.
So, First Lady Jill Biden is there at the game.
She's at the game. Okay.
Yeah, she's at the game. Yep.
She's there watching the tournament. She's there with Billie Jean King. She's there with
Right.
this kind of delegation of female athletes, and she's trying to, in her mind, kind of champion women athletics and where it's come from and where it is now. Because Val, the voice, you got to remember, they sold out. These games, these women's national championship were selling out. And arguably to Barkley or anybody else, I would tell you that they were much more interesting and exciting than the men's game.
Exactly.
Okay? Yeah. This year it was. So,
and last year, but this year especially.
Okay, but this year especially. And then so the first lady, who is a teacher and is trying to be nice and wanting to kind of reach out and doesn't understand sports. She says,
wait a minute.
So she said, she obviously doesn't understand sports when she said what she said, which was, now It was such a competitive game. We had such two great teams. Wouldn't it be great if we had
Both of them come
LSU
out.
and both of them come to the White House to
Right.
celebrate?
And then I saw that one move, Val, when Shaggy and Scooby Doo was running through and Scooby said, "Uh-oh."
I don't know. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I don't know.
And so it hits CBS in the morning, and Nate Burleson on CBS with Gail, who's an ex-NFL pro guy, makes a statement and says, if you're going to do that, then that means you must do it for every sport, including baseball, soccer, the men and women for the World Cup. And so,
Hey,
and
hey,
so
coach, you think TCU wanted to go to the White House with Georgia?
exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh,
they would love that bit
no.
over there, Mike. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wait a minute. So now, after
Mhm.
Jill says that, Val, you're gonna love this boomerang. So to
The
clean things
boomerang came
up,
up.
Chicago's own 53rd Street in Hyde Park, Obama says we will see this LSU team many more times. And then the curveball went left.
It got better.
no.
It got better because Angel
It got better?
on. Angel got on. Coach, I'm gonna throw you something in just a second. Angel got on. Reese got on. I think it's Twitter. Is it Twitter?
On Twitter.
Yeah.
She got on Twitter.
She has like 1 million followers now, and she got on there and she said, "Wait a minute, if Jill Biden's doing that, what Miss Obama, you got a house?
Right.
We go see you? Can we go see you? Will you welcome us in?"
See,
And
like we ain't got to go to the White House. See, like we ain't got to go to the White House. We just come to DC and go to the Obamas.
Let's go chill with the Obama.
Wow.
That's what champions do.
So and then let's take another step of this, Mike. I got some hot off the presses news, Val. I got some hot off the presses news, Val. You may not have got that guy right before I got on the show too. So after that occurs, and they talked about want to do that, then they asked Caitlin Clark, which seconds ago, about an hour ago, she made a statement, and she said it was a fun game. She had a blast in the game. She grew up in the Midwest, just like we did. And I remember talking crazy when I was in high school and college. If you couldn't play with us, you don't even step on the court, dog. But we talk about everybody, including your mom. You know what I'm saying? That's just back in the day. But Caitlin was like, the game was so fun and so awesome. She didn't know why people were coming down on Reese anyway. She was like, this is great. I'm hoping she comes back and we do this again next year. That was in a competitive spirit of her mind. Now, having said that, tonight, Caitlin Clark had exactly 91 followers in social media before the start of the tournament. She's now got over 1.3 million followers in exactly 15 days of a national NCAA tournament, and Reese is over 2-point-something million.
Yeah,
now,
2 million. There you go.
Yeah, 2 million. Now,
so,
because
coach,
of that,
let me, coach, here, I'll set you up for it. I can get an assist. Give me
this assist. Give me this assist.
Rock for the assist, coach. What's really been interesting with Bayou Barbie, with Angel Reese, is not just what she's been doing on the court, but what she's managed to do off the court with NIL. Passing the ball, coach. Take it in.
As you see, beautiful plug. As you see behind me, supporting my show, sponsor, The Rise. That's what we do, baby. You know, we sitting here on the NIL side of the house, sports marketing. Ding, 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 ring the bell. Mike, you hit it on the nose, baby. 17 NIL deals, Val. 17 for Reese. You understand me? And including that, she has now a shoe deal on the table that they're working on her own shoe before she gets to the WNBA. But what Mike was alluding to, Val, you're going to love this one because I know you one of them, got to love the little beautiful little things here. Guess who she's getting ready to cut a deal with, Val? You on mute.
She's cutting a deal with possibly maybe Nike. I don't know, maybe.
No, she getting ready to cut a deal with Mattel and get her own black Barbie doll
Her
called
nickname,
Bayou Barbie,
her
which is her
nickname is
nickname.
Bayou Barbie.
That's her
She plays
nickname.
for LSU.
We ain't talking about the Barbie doll that we were sitting down to Miami Beach, girl. We talking about the Barbie doll from the hood. You know what I'm saying?
Bayou Barbie. Love it.
And
Oh my
and,
God.
and Val, you gonna touch
Mhm.
her in the back, and she gonna say, "This ain't no one man game."
Hey, coach, I'm waiting for her deal. I'm waiting for her deal from Hellsburg. Right?
Yeah, to
That's
get
the
the
deal I
ring.
want to see her. That's right.
Yeah.
Snails? Wait,
Now,
he
Val.
went to Jarrett's? He went to
Mhm.
Now,
Yeah,
Jarrett.
now,
right. Now, what were you saying, Coach? What were you saying, Coach?
the reason why,
Mhm.
how can I put this? I got to keep it politically correct, right? So the reason
Yeah.
why the majority of the Hayden fans thought she was thugged out from that picture you had a moment ago is
Mhm.
because it was cool for Clark. You can't see me and dropping Steph Curry type jumpers. But the
Yes.
moment I put
Mhm.
them elbows on you, it made you, sit in this block and play. Then all of a sudden I'm playing thug style. And she's like, hey, that I am who I am.
Coach.
And the cool part about it is Mattel and the shoe company and the other deals is that they love the edgy that she got on them. Now, Mike, I don't know if you saw this or not. And this goes back to what I said at the top of the hour.
I hope they get the eyelashes right. Yeah, go ahead.
The one person I got to agree with, and you're going to have to agree with me when I break this down. Final score 102.85, right?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Magic, my man Johnson
Yeah.
says the game had nothing to do with Angel Reese, which I agree with him 100%. If it wasn't for Jasmine Carson in the first
Right.
half, who hit 5 for 5 from three, ended up with 18 points, with 20 points, 3 assists. And if it wasn't for my girl, who I think she like a thug of the squad anyway, got the heart, in Alexis Morris, who had 19 in the second half,
Yeah.
finished with 21 and 9. So between the point guard and the shooting guard, they finished with 41 and 12. You take that off the board, Iowa wins in a blowout in a surprising national
Yeah.
championship.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
again, share the wealth, and you're not a one-man game. That's why that ring is coming that
That's right.
direction.
And it hurts my heart to say it. It hurts my heart to say it. But Coach Kim out coached see I coached Iowa, right?
Yeah, yeah, Kim out coach.
See I coached them.
She out coach.
And
She said,
champion
I'm
coach.
gonna shut you down. And she went old school Jordan to the Chicago Bulls.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to your face. I'm gonna give you whatever you want to get, but I'm gonna shut everybody else down. They got the big girl in foul trouble.
Right.
She was in foul trouble. And to go to show you
Mhm.
what kind of player Caitlin Clark is, Val, and I don't know if you
Mhm.
saw this or kind of as a coach, we look at this all the time. When
Okay.
your star player gets in foul trouble, you're going to
Right.
set them down. And when they
Okay.
get 2 fouls, especially before halftime, because you can't
Okay.
afford the third. So when the big post player from Iowa and Angel Reese both picked up 2 fouls, they sat down. But Caitlin Clark picked up her second foul early in the second quarter. She stayed on the floor. She looked at Coach Bolton. She's like, hey, I'm good. But because of the type of player she is, I can trust you on the floor because of that. Now, during that time period, that's
Mhm.
when Jasmine Carson went off for them threes because she knew if she came at her, she was going to give her the shot or
Wow.
something because she couldn't get that full foul because
Right.
she was playing with three. So that was the change of the game, and that's what Magic Johnson was talking about. Sometime it ain't your star player. Sometime I got to do a Cooper loop, right, Mike?
Yeah, and
Mhm.
but that's also coaching, right? So
Exactly.
you have to have her out there because she's all you got. So even 2-3 fouls in, she stays in the game because
Correct.
otherwise you got no offense.
And when the big girl went down, unfortunately, the young black lady that plays, I can't remember the young girl's name that played for Iowa, the other post player, I should know that. She came in, the freshman, she traveled what, like 3 times, 4 times in a row, like every
Yeah,
time she got it. And
yeah,
that was nervous, and she never been on the big stage like that,
right.
you know?
Let's leave that
And
up there. Let's read that. You want to read it, Val?
Yeah.
Hold it.
As of today,
Mm-hmm.
Angel Reese and Faluk J. Johnson are the most are the two top Final Four players with the most Instagram followers, men and women. They have 2 million followers over on
That's
IG.
ridiculous.
That
And she
is.
got a woman as her sports agent, and Janine Ajabayana, I think is how she spell her name.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
she's doing a heck of a
Yes,
job.
yes.
Just just doing the things she's got to do. And this young lady, and Val, again, we've talked. For those of you, again, and Mike said this about in the top of the hour doing the show. If you're not subscribing to this show, if you're not watching this show,
Yeah.
if you're not getting this show every week, and you sleeping, just keep a pillow under your head because you're going to sleep early. You know what I'm saying? This is the hottest show coming up on the podcast, and we coming with sting, we coming with substance. But you are
Yes.
in a situation that you got these young ladies. By the way, Val and Mike, the
Yes.
Mhm.
women's NCAA championship was the most watched sports event in basketball, men or
Mhm.
women.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And coach, here's the crazy part about this. 2 weeks ago, all this love that people are giving to LSU,
Was not
nobody
there?
saw that. It was South Carolina versus the field. I mean,
Correct.
South Carolina gets to the Final
8,400,
Four.
8,400 to 1 versus the field on South Carolina, because they
Yeah,
would pick the
so
wins off.
everybody's right that the LSU was likely going to return next year, but South Carolina's coming back. They they,
Yes.
they, they disappearing.
Oh, Don's going to reload. And Val, let me ask you a question. I'm going to ask you a trick question. Do you
Uh-oh.
know the one thing about the women's game
Geico
that that
money's gonna
that
help.
that was so important for March Madness?
Exposure and definitely the gateway. It's literally it's before the NBA playoffs, and then the WNBA will start playing too. I'm thinking about that. What do you
I
think?
got you. Well, you were right on that path, but I'm gonna give it to you in real concrete. What's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
They became the most watched NCAA in the
Mm-hmm.
past history for an NCAA championship,
That's
and
one.
this is only the second year that the women have been able to use the March Madness logo. So think about that.
Are
This
you
is only
serious?
the
No,
second year.
whoa, stop. Are you
Yes.
serious? I thought the women were always allowed to have
Th-
that
No,
because
they
it's March
use it.
Madness with them too.
No, they use the NCAA logo. This was only the second year that they were able to use the CBS March Madness logo on the floors. Other
Oh,
than that, they've had the NCAA logos on the floor. But for the March Madness logo that the men use, this is only the second year, and they brought in the most viewership of any of them any time. And it lets you know the power of the women's game and where the shift is going. And this is where these sponsors are going to get these young ladies. These young ladies are beautiful.
I
They're
know.
athletes as well. And when you look
Right.
at the working economy, we always talk about, the men getting paid 20% more than the average woman, 80 to
Right.
100. If you look at these women, this goes back to our show last year, Val. We talked about when Brittany Griner was over in
And
Russia.
I was just about, and let me stop you. I was just about to mention that because of all of the press that happened with Brittany Griner and the thing where she was unfortunately caught up in this political theater between Ukraine and Russia. And they literally had this, she was playing over there because she was not making what a bench player for the NBA is making. And so just women should be valued for what they bring and what they're worth, especially when they're on the court. That's
Sure.
important. And I'm this is, I had to stop you when you said this was because I thought about it. I'm like, I've always seen March Madness, especially when it's come to both the NCAA with men and women, but you're calling this out. This is just the second year. And keep in mind, we had a weird COVID situation, COVID
Correct.
year in 2020. And so this is the 2022 was the first year that that the NCAA said, okay, you got the women can use March Madness. How long
And
has the NCAA been around, coach?
a long time. And what you're looking at is the kickback of COVID, right? Me and Mike talk about this all the time. You're looking
Mhm.
at You're looking at the one get back year because of COVID. You're looking at the
Mhm.
free transfer, and more importantly, what you're looking at is that I think what the guys are thinking about is the NIL deals for everything, because the
Right.
NIL deals have made up the opportunity for these women to make more money. And having said that, drop the mic.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Michael?
No, 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 coach, you're right. You're spot on. It has to do with that. Social media certainly has helped the women when they were able to expose the inequality of their training gear, of their lodging, of their food, and really put the NCAA on notice. They had to step up. They had to
Yeah.
do better, and they did. I think another thing, just in kind of wrapping this up for this evening, is just that. Having them in the same space too, in the generally the same space. I mean, Texas was kicking it off. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll give Texas their props. They had it for these tournaments, and I think just the idea that it was so there with the men and the women in this space helped.
Mhm.
I think it helped to
Well,
generate
I,
interest.
I give the NCAA credit, Val, and I don't know if you know this or how
Look,
much you follow and all this. I give the NCAA credit because a few years ago, actually, as North Central was making it to the national championship game, D3, the NCAA has done a great job of moving all the NCAA logos, right? The logos to
hmm
the same weekend. So you have the D3 national championship on that Friday. I mean, on a Thursday. You got the D2 national championship on the Friday. You got the D1 women national championship on the Saturday. And then you got the men on that following Monday. So they brought everything. And the other one that we must not forget, and I'm working hard to get them on this show, is we now got what they call the HBCU All-Star Game. None other than my frat brother, Cap Alpha Psi, and Mr. Travis Williams out of Atlanta. And Mike, I don't know if you got a chance to see HBCU on TV on Sunday afternoon. It was great.
briefly,
You
I
know,
was busy, but yeah.
that's
Yeah.
absolutely huge. So we're gonna work on that. But more importantly, Val, I don't know if you have that picture I sent you, but if you guys are tuning in, make sure you tune in next week. And we're gonna bring the NCAA right to your living room with our guest, my guy from Nashville, Mr. JP Pagias, was a young man at Furman University who hit the game-winning shot against Virginia. First time to bring Furman back to the
Woo.
tournament since 1971, Mike, since
Mm,
71. And oh, by the way, Val, he's from Nashville. So we're gonna bring the young man on. You guys can be able to make
yes.
sure you get your questions. We're gonna talk about how it feels to be in that limelight, hit that last shot. We're gonna talk about everything. But this has been great tonight, Val. You guys, I appreciate it, my brother.
Yeah, coach. I mean, coach, you're in the forefront of where sports is going. You're certainly leading the way, and we're fortunate to have you here for sure.
We
And
thank you. We thank you so very much, and we'll check you out. Thank you for breaking it down. Thank you for always breaking it down for us, so that we'll know, and our audience will know.
right,
and, and
artists better push that subscribe button so we can continue to break it down, Mike. Let them know, Mike. Let it be what? Let it
let
be
it
broke.
forever broke. There you go.
Crack.
Crack it
Hey,
up.
I love you, my sister Val, the voice Johnson, and my
Yeah,
main man,
boy.
Mr. Mike Womble. And don't forget, y'all better catch Womble on Wednesdays as well. You know how you wobble, let me see you wobble wobble. You better wobble on in the Womble. You know what I'm saying? So that may be a new
Yeah.
tagline, Mike. Wobble
That
on in
we
the
might have to use that. We might
Oh
have
boy.
to use that. I think I
Oh
like
boy.
it. You
yeah,
don't like
wobble
it?
into
I
that Womble.
We'll have a meeting on that. Let's have a
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah, yeah. Hey, but I love you guys. Until next week. Hey, by the way, everybody, and Mark Springer, don't meet me there. Beat me there.
All
And
right.
I'm out.
And he's out. Oh my gosh. There
Yeah.
goes the coach.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
yeah.
So, Michael, if you could let us know what you're going to be talking about on tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm gonna be talking about sports. I'm gonna be talking about sports tomorrow.
And what aspect of sports are you going to be talking about?
One of the balls. I'm gonna talk about one of the balls. It depends. It depends on the weather tomorrow. I got some things so that I'll get you some scoop on sports tomorrow. Got that, okay?
Okay.
And from my perspective, so it's not gonna be detailed and athletic and all that. It's gonna be from the just the pure entertainment side of it.
The pure entertainment side. Okay, well, I could definitely
Entertainment is what
I definitely can appreciate that. Well, two things are coming up for the
stay in my
podcast, and
lane.
you
I
see,
know my lane. Stay in my lane.
you're good. You're
Yeah,
good with your lane.
I like
I
my lane. It's wide enough for me.
Oh my gosh. So next week next
It's
week
the HOP lane.
okay. So next week I'm gonna have a very special guest, and this will be a little bit earlier than Talk on Tuesday. It's gonna happen at 8 for us, but 7:30, come a little bit earlier because I'll be interviewing award-winning playwright and filmmaker Monique Lisa Johnson. And I have to say, Michael, she's had not one, not two, but 9 sold-out shows at the Apollo Theater.
Awesome. That is
Just
wonderful.
kind of major. And right now
Wow.
I am in her writing class working with trying to get the podcasting book together. And
Okay.
so this is
All right.
someone that definitely is passionate about helping writers as well as
Listen,
you finding your
I'm gonna have to
voice
tune
in
in early. I'm gonna have to come in a little early then.
you're
All
right
right.
there. So I'm gonna have her come on a little bit and talk about what she's been doing, and just she
Mhm.
is hip hop royalty. I just found this out recently. African American Museum, the Smithsonian, that's in Washington D.C. There's a
Yes.
section of the hip hop section she's in.
Okay. All right. There we go.
So there we
Hey,
go. So
hey.
I'm really
Like
excited
Coach
about
said,
having her on.
this is why you subscribe, right? That's why you all are here.
Exactly. You have to
Because you
subscribe
get
so you
scoops
can go
like this,
ahead.
you get things that you won't find any other place. All right, so you going
Mhm.
early. You're gonna go. Tune in
I'm gonna yeah, right. I'm gonna be
7:30.
going early. You're coming in at your regular time. Coach is coming in
Oh,
another 30
well,
minutes later. So
I'm gonna listen. What you talking
oh, okay.
about? I'm
Well,
gonna
come
be
on in.
listening and watching. What
Okay,
you
come
mean?
on in. Come on in and watch. Come on in and watch. Because I mean,
Exactly.
well, let me go ahead and thank you so much, Kevin, for catching that. Thank you so very much for doing
Yeah,
that too. I like it. I like it. Oh my goodness. And oh gosh,
Monique. Now there's a different Monique, right? It's not the
there's a
Monique we
different
talking about.
Monique. This is
This
not
is not Mo to the.
this is not Mo to the no, it's not
Nah,
that
the
Mo.
different
No, it's
Monique. I
not.
mean, I just saying. Let's just be clear, because we did start the show talking about Monique, and now you saying you got Monique next week. This
Yeah,
is
Monique
different.
Lisa. Monique
Monique
Lisa. That's a
Lisa
totally
Johnson.
different name.
Monique
Totally
Lisa
different name.
Johnson,
And I
not
see
Monique
Tracy.
Parker.
I see Tracy is in the audience. I'm gonna call you, girl. I'm gonna have to call you.
Right,
You
none of the
definitely
Parkers next week.
none of the Parkers. Oh my goodness. Guys, Interludes is streaming every Tuesday on our Interludes on our YouTube channel, Facebook company page, and then also on LinkedIn and then Pod TV. Roku channel. Thank you so very much, Mark Lee. If you'd like to become a sponsor on our platform, visit our website. Thank you so much for putting that in the chat for us, Kevin. And then also, if you're interested in starting your own podcasting platform, and you're a fan, we are going to ask you to join the Patreon community. And then I'll ask
It's the
Kevin to put that in
Patreon
the
chat.
chat as well.
Right.
What's your name, Mr. Michael? Mr. Womble?
My name is not Valdo Voice Johnson, but yours is, and this has been completely off the rails. Interlude Actions Talk on Tuesday, April 4th. Welcome, April. Yeah.
The best month ever. And I'd like to say
Stay
this.
tuned.
Happy belated birthday, Mr. Womble.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks.
And with that, peace. Michael, I have a dream.
Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
All right, all right. January begins with two big birthdays of legends.
We celebrate the dreamer and the greatest as we head into this third week of January.
Oh man, talk on Tuesdays. We're getting ready to go. Let's go. All right, we are getting it together with Talk on Tuesdays. Oh my goodness. We are back on this third week. I can't believe this January is going by real quick. I don't know about you, Michael. January is going by real quick.
Yeah, some days a little bit faster than others.
Exactly, exactly. And we are available. Our Talk on Tuesdays is available right here on our YouTube channel, streaming to our Interludes private Facebook. Anyone can join. You just gotta, abide by the rules because we actually have some. We're
We
actually
got
on.
rules,
We got rules, man. You can't be just saying anything all willy nilly on the group.
constagulating, agitating,
Inter-
imitating.
Interludes is on LinkedIn as well. And thanks to Mark Lee, we are now streaming on Interludes.
Mark
Is on Pride
Lee,
TV.
Friday,
Yay.
Kakalaka. Yeah, Lord
Okay.
Kakalaka.
And
Raise
I
up,
love
take
it.
your shirt
I,
off. Not this shirt,
I
though.
love it. I love it.
This shirt
And
off.
guys, this is coming. It's a webinar that I'm gonna be teaching. Find your voice,
Webinar.
a webinar, a podcasting webinar for beginners. And I'm your host, Val the Voice. And every Saturday this month, we'll be teaching. I'll be teaching. I like to say will, but I'll be teaching. And you guys go ahead and sign up for it. We'll ask
She be
our
teaching, you be
moderator
learning.
tips you'll be learning how to start.
And you also learn why it's called a podcast, which some people don't know.
So
There's a
go
reason.
ahead and I'll ask Kevin to put it in the chat. But guys, go ahead
Kevin's
and
here.
Kevin
What?
is here. Kevin is here, and become a future
Kevin,
become a future
Kevin,
sponsor
Kevin.
of Interludes by going to the website in the chat, linktr.ee/pure light media. Thank you so very much.
Pure Media Light.
Pure Media Like. Give us a shout wherever you're watching from in the chat. I'm talking a big old shout. And here's I think Kevin saying, "Hey y'all, hey Kevin, how you
Hey,
doing?"
shout. Shout. Let it all out. You know,
So
these are things you can't do without. Interludes Extra, Talk on Tuesday. You can't do without it, can you?
I know I can't. Now I know about one of the birthdays. I am
Okay.
educated. Everyone is educated on the Martin Luther King birthday, and it's ironic. His actual birthday is the 15th. We honor him every third Monday of January
Because it's a federal holiday.
because it's a federal holiday that was fought for decades,
Hard
and it
fought.
finally came to
It was
hard
fought
fought.
hard like hard fried chicken at the Chinese restaurant. Fry
Right,
hard. Fought
exactly,
hard.
exactly. But who is the other birthday? You
Well,
said
you
something at
know,
the
King
top.
King King would have been 94, on the 15th.
Hmm.
And as you and I both remember when, Stevie Wonder was rallying folks to get that as a holiday. But now in Illinois, this today marks the second anniversary of a day honoring a sports legend who had a home in
Hmm.
Chicago. He raised his family here. His daughter still lives here, and he made an imprint on this city and it's for a number of reasons. One, because it's one of the greatest cities in the world, but two, it was also close to his spiritual home for a while, which was the Nation of Islam. Float like a
Mm.
butterfly, sting like a bee.
Sting like a bee. All right.
You know who that is? Who that,
Uh,
man?
that is the professional boxer who was known first when he started as Cassius Clay, and then
You know what? His mama called him Clay. I'm gonna call him
I'm
Clay.
gonna call him Clay. Oh my gosh. But no,
That
seriously,
boy
it
good.
is that boy good. That boy good. So Muhammad Ali, and that is the birthday that I was not aware of. Was
Back
not aware of. Mhm.
January 17th, back in 1942. Tuesday, officially in the state of Illinois, where
Mhm.
we're coming from, the great state of Illinois. Tuesday today is Muhammad Ali Day, and this is the second Muhammad Ali Day. The first one took place last year. So we've had a couple of these Muhammad Ali days, and the reason is that it's not just a means of his ethnicity, but also his background. And tonight, locally, a Muslim Civic Coalition is screening a documentary of him at the DuSable Black History Museum here in Chicago.
Wonderful.
So this
Yes.
is so they've been doing things, each year something different, honoring Ali and Muhammad Ali Day. And it's really interesting because there are so many amazing people who have come through Chicago, and that's certainly one of those people. And along with King's birthday, we honor King. We think about all the great things over the weekend. You certainly saw celebrations throughout the country and probably throughout the
Mhm.
world, marking that special day of that special man and the movement that he came to represent. But then on the other hand, almost a yin to the yang, you got Muhammad Ali, who if Martin Luther King was a pacifist, goodness knows Muhammad Ali was a fighter in terms of what he believed in, right? He was someone who stood up for his values in the face of criticism, in the face of harsh
Mhm.
judgment. He lost
Mhm.
his title at some point
Mm.
because of his beliefs. He stood up.
Right.
He was one of those
Mhm.
first athletes who, didn't just play their sport, but also spoke about what was going on from a place of strength and knowledge. And because of that, even though at times, his career had its ups and downs, we remember him as the greatest. And not just the greatest in
Mhm.
the boxing ring, but outside of the boxing ring as a humanitarian, as someone who advocated for civil rights, for human rights, someone
Mhm.
who, like Dr. King, has said. I was talking to a class this morning about King as well as Muhammad Ali, and there were two things they agreed upon. There were some things they didn't agree upon, especially since Muhammad Ali was part of the Nation of Islam, so he had some differences
Right.
with Dr. King and
Mhm.
his philosophy coming out of Christianity. But
Right.
the two places they agreed were equality for all in
Mhm.
America, and the second, they were both against the Vietnam War. And because
Right.
of that, they were against war and for peace. And in that way, these two men, as historians learn, they were back channels. They talked to each other. They were in communication with one another. It wasn't just what people saw on TV. It was this other relationship. And I think, sometimes it takes time to learn about these things. We
Right.
see
And
we see
and
the factual side, and sometimes we see it played out in fiction, like in 4 Days in Miami, which is a great movie that talks about Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali, and some of the other things he was thinking about during that time in the 60s.
all right. And uh to be clear, Muhammad Ali was born on this day back in 1942, and I think of all of the people that have portrayed him on screen, because there's been a lot of actors that portrayed Muhammad Ali on screen. I think Will Smith is one of the actors I felt like nailed it in 2002's Ali. Michael, I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I said yes. Yes. Will Smith nailed that role as long as also nailed Chris Rock in subsequent years.
One thing that I see in the comments, I'm going to go ahead sing like a bee. Uh, Roxanne, thank you so much. She says that's a whole lot of greatness to celebrate in 1 week, in one
That's
weekend.
right. That's right.
Hmm.
And everything
I'm
will
going to
be
have to
okay.
agree with her.
That's right. As long as you keep my wife's name out your mouth, we're all good, right? We're all good. We're all good.
Yeah, and
Oh,
I
Eddie. Oh, Eddie.
oh my gosh, when we talk about some of the movies and some of the things that came, now we went back 21 years to Ali, but thinking
Ali
about
Kumbaya.
2000, thinking about 2022 and the movies and TV shows or TV series that we liked, reviewed, and talked about. There's been a lot of top 5, top 10, top 30 of those films and movies. And Michael, I'd love to ask you for last year, 2022, what were your favorite top 5 movies?
Well, Val. I mean,
Hmm.
I sometimes this to me, I gotta say, is
Hmm.
I don't know if you've ever felt this, and I'm trying to figure out exactly how to express it, but
Hmm.
in a way, it's kind of maddening to me. And
Maddening to you.
yeah,
Okay.
let me explain why. Because each year, kind of you think about what happened to you during the year. You think
Hmm.
about like experiences you've had, and then these award shows come up and they nominate these people for these various awards,
Hmm.
and they say this is the best of this year.
Hmm.
One of the movies that'll probably get nominated for Best Picture and have people in nominated in various categories for the Academy Awards hasn't even come out yet. It comes out on Friday. So someone's going to look back and say, well, that was one of the best movies of 2022. How could it have been? It wasn't even released in 2022.
22.
Do you know
Isn't
what
that isn't
what
that
I'm
unfair
saying?
though? But isn't that unfair? I
I
think
mean,
it's unfair.
I don't yeah, it is. It's also kind of like it's disorienting at times when you
Hmm.
go back and you say, well, the best thing of this year was that. And it's like, wait a minute, that came out in February of the following year. How could it be the best of this? What are you doing? Well, well, they, and then you have to kind of step back and go, these things are set up for people to pat themselves on the back and award themselves things. And that's nice. The thing
Hmm.
that I enjoy is actually watching the movies. I
Me
do
too.
look at the lists that come out or people talk about it. So I'm glad you asked about it. But in a way, it's like, okay, but how could that be the best of something? And there was like no way to get to it. There's no way to watch that. What are you talking about? So here,
Exactly, exactly.
let me break this down real quick. And I'm gonna add is
And,
you ask, I'm gonna
and
give you five and a
give me
half
5.
and a half.
Okay, great.
All right.
And
All
really
right.
quickly, and really
Yeah,
quick
yeah.
before you get started, thank you so much, Kevin. We're sharing this with the chat.
Yeah.
What
Tell
was one
us.
of your favorite movie from 2022? Throw it in the chat and we'll go ahead. Thank you so much for that, Kevin.
I know.
The floor is yours, Michael. Go
And
ahead.
then there's some people that see something that came out in 2021, they see it in 2022. And for them, that's the best thing they saw in 2022. And it's like, you know what? It won awards last year. Well, wait. Well, I just saw it. You know what I mean? So here, you're looking
Exactly.
at a picture of Glass Onion. Glass Onion
Hmm.
certainly is on my list of the best
Hmm.
movies of the year. If you only watch it for Janelle Monae, that's enough. That's enough to make it worthwhile. Seriously.
What about Daniel Craig, our
I-
resident
if you
James Bond? Was
if
he
you like
okay?
if you like James Blunt, He's cool. James Blunt is cool in it, with his country, foghorn leghorn accent going again.
Mhm, mhm,
But
mhm,
Janelle Monáe makes that movie twice over. Haha, and if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. So there's Glass Onion.
mhm,
Let me see if you're throwing stuff up. Everything, everywhere, all at once. We certainly talked about that a lot. Val, I know that was a movie
mhm.
that I had mentioned to you, and you got to see, and I was very happy about that. I think I saw that movie in the theater a couple of times, and
I
now
saw
it's
it.
been running on
Yeah.
Showtime, right? So
Mhm.
the whole
Yeah.
world is getting to see that movie, and I think that that might be the best movie of 2022. And it does something else. It's not only great in and of itself, people are
Mhm.
able to actually watch it and
Yeah,
see
that's
it.
a
So
bigger thing. That's a
and that
bigger
is
thing,
and
yes.
then that means something. And that's
Mhm,
and a couple of my other movies on here, with the exception of one, are also accessible to you.
mhm,
Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Has that popped
mhm.
up on Disney Plus yet? I know it's coming. It's
It's
coming
coming,
very
it's
soon.
coming. Yeah, it's coming, I think, in February because I feel like they're releasing it on Disney Plus to kind of
Sooner than
honor
ever.
when
Yeah.
yeah, when the first Black Panther hit theaters, it was February of 2018.
Was it?
Mhm. I
Wow.
will
Wow.
clearly forever
Okay.
remember that
Okay.
because we did a whole thing
Oh, no
in New
doubt. I'm
York.
not doubting it
Kevin,
at all.
Kevin, Roxanne, you guys remember when we did our red carpet thing and on what was that,
Oh, no,
34th
no, no, I'm
Street?
not doubting it at all, but I know that, Black Panther was one of those unique movies, almost like Get Out when it came out at that point,
Mhm.
where it just kinda stayed.
Mhm.
People continue to see it and it didn't matter when it came out. It's like, "Yeah, I saw it. How many times did you see it?"
Exactly.
Like, "How many times did you see it?" Yeah, exactly. Here's, another one that hopefully people got to see in theaters. If not, I know it's streaming widely. That is The Woman
Mhm.
King. The Woman
Of
King,
course.
starring
Of
Viola
course.
Davis, directed by Gina Bythewood, right?
Prince Blythewood.
Prince.
Yes, we love
Okay,
her.
so love her.
Mhm.
And I got two others. I'm sneaking two others in here. All right. One of them is a
Of course.
documentary. It's called The Descendants. It's a
Mhm.
documentary called The Descendants. It is available on Netflix. It is a documentary about the last slave ship that came into America. And what makes
Mhm.
this so unique is that you see this place called Africatown, Alabama, and you hear this story. Now, here's the thing about it. This last ship came in after slavery was illegal. After it was illegal. So the person
Wow.
that brought it in did so illegally, broke the law, and tried to hide it. And it has taken
Mm.
more than more than 100 years to actually uncover the case, and you see it there in the film. The last one I'm sneaking in as my 5.5 is
You're so cute.
this. I saw this over the weekend. See, this is what I'm talking about, right? So is that a 2022 movie or 2023?
I don't know.
Should I not even mention it because it's 2023, right?
You can go ahead and
But
mention
it
it.
but
Go
it
ahead
came
and
out
mention
but
it.
it came out in 2022, but I didn't get to see
Okay.
it because
Okay.
I don't
All
think
right. What
everybody got
movie
to see
was
it.
it? What movie was it?
The name of the movie is called Tar, Tar, and
Okay.
it stars Kate Blanchett.
Mhm.
And it is interesting. I've only seen it once, and it's one of those rare movies, Val, where you have I feel like I gotta watch it again because
So you can get it.
I know what I saw. I'm pretty sure what I saw, like 85%, but it could
Mhm.
be something else. Something else could have happened in there, and I don't know. I'm interested in that conversation. Val,
So our
that's my
our
list.
our
What is
so
yours?
So some of ours kind of intersected. So that's the reason why I kind of waited to re-show what I'm showing. So of course, Wakanda Forever Black Panther is on my list because I love the way Ryan Coogler allowed us as an audience to collectively
Look how
grieve
lovely
the
they're
passing.
lit. Look how beautifully they're lit in that picture. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah, and in the same way
Oh,
that we think of Michelle Obama as our forever first
oh
lady, Angela Bassett
crescendo.
portraying Queen Ramonda will forever be our queen of Wakanda. So that's
Golden Glove winner.
Golden Globe winner from last week, so we're really excited about that. And then of course, Till.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
a
A
tough
top 10.
subject.
That's on the top 10. Yep.
Yeah, and they definitely dealt with the topic very sensitively. And Whoopi Goldberg was one of the executive producers for this. And what I will say is the lead actress on this, Danielle Dwyer,
Hmm.
she has been nominated. I think this cast has been nominated for a SAG. So I'm
Rightfully
looking to
so.
see. I'm looking to see what Oscar buzz will come and float around that. Of course, we both mentioned The Woman King. It would be nice if Viola got nominated, but I'm not sure because she's a winner
Look at
from
those
before. But
arms. Look at those
I,
arms. Oh my God.
I
Oh my
know.
God. Boy, you think she could put up some threes with those arms? My
Right,
God.
exactly.
The
This is
muscle
my
arm.
5.5 movie, so this is Nope. I enjoyed it. It didn't make sense, but it was enjoyable to me, and I
I,
feel, you know.
you know what? I was surprised at how many best of lists Nope
Hmm.
made.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I think much more than you did. I thought it was a really interesting movie.
Hmm.
I thought it was a rather long movie,
Okay.
and I want
Hmm.
to volunteer myself to both the esteemed director of Nope, who
Jordan
directed
Peele.
Nope, Jordan
Jordan
Peele,
Peele.
as well as Sheldon Lee, the esteemed Mr. Sheldon Lee, and I would like
Hmm.
to nominate myself as an honorary editor so that I might edit their
Stop
movie
it down a little bit more.
so I can take
Mhm.
off the half hour that they feel is necessary, which I think none of their audience feels is necessary. It was about a half hour, at least a half hour too long, which was okay
Mhm.
because I went to sleep during that half hour. Anyway,
Oh, good gracious. Oh, good
so no,
gracious.
it was
And
about
then,
half
of
done.
course, what got me back in the movie theaters, thinking, oh my Lord, it's COVID. Who wants to be bothered with it? And just kind of admiring Tom Cruise as a producer. He was a
Hmm.
producer on the Top Gun Maverick. I
Hmm.
two of the five movies or six movies that I have on my list are technically sequels. And Top Gun Maverick is a sequel to the 1986 Top Gun. And Tom fought for this film to be shown in theaters, and it was a wonderful decision
What
because
did
I
you? What
believe,
you?
yeah,
Yeah. Oh no, financially it was.
financially it was a wonderful decision. But
It saved Paramount. So anyway, but Val, no, it did. It saved Paramount pretty
Mhm,
much.
mhm,
I mean,
mhm.
it's probably the reason they're going to get to launch MGM Plus as a streaming channel because
That
the
that
strength
would be
of
fun.
Top Gun. But Val, can I ask you about this film?
Of course, go ahead.
What did you hear? Can you tell me like can you kind of narrow down something that you really liked about Top Gun Maverick?
What I am afraid of heights. However, I love being in the air.
Okay.
So I noticed the filmmaker, you are in the cockpit with them. And I
Okay.
noticed that was what was the draw for the first one.
Okay.
I
Okay.
wasn't really into it I was a teenager when the first one came out, but this
Mhm.
one it just was beautiful cinematography, and to me it had a very solid story, and I love the way
Okay.
the writing honored Val Kilmer, who unfortunately does have issues with speaking. He's been battling
Mhm.
some health issues, and the way he was written in, and how things kind of threw back to the
Mhm.
original, even if you had not seen it. It was just done in a beautiful way. So it got me back in the theater, and I was like, wow, this is great. So, and Tom Cruise, I don't know him personally, but he's he's a
Yeah,
great actor.
I got no problem with Tom Cruise.
I got no
I'm not
problem. I
here
got
to
no problem. Yeah.
I'm not here to Jared Carmichael Tom Cruise. But what I would say is this: the things that you said that you liked about
Hmm.
Top Gun, you can find in a smaller movie with an African American lead that has a lot of those beautiful aerial shots called Devotion. And Devotion, I know is a movie we talked
Hmm.
about earlier in the year. That also is available free now if you have
Hmm.
Paramount Plus. It's
Oh,
there.
wonderful.
So
Yeah.
Devotion is there. It's about uh, one of the first or the first African American naval pilot, and it goes into this story, and it is a great story. And the shots, those flying shots, and kind of an
Yeah, they
older,
yeah.
you know, fighter plane. It's great. It's really great. And if you haven't seen it, please check it out. It's the same place where you can find Top Gun Maverick. It's the same spot. Devotion.
Right. And thank you so much. Kevin says in the chat that Top Gun was his favorite.
Really?
And then yeah, he said that was
Really?
one of his that was his favorite. It might have been entertaining. Thank you so very much, Mark. We
Really?
see you saying hello. And then of course putting the your films in everything everywhere all at once. Guys, this is gonna be showing up in award season everywhere.
Because it's
Descendants,
everything. That movie is that movie has
everything.
everything
Mhm.
in it.
E
What is it? Is it a
everything in it.
drama?
The
Yes. Is
woman
it a comedy?
right,
Yes. Is it an action
right.
movie? Yes. Is
Yes,
it a
mhm.
superhero movie?
The
Yes. It's
the
all of
Woman King, the Black Panther, Wakanda, Glass Onion, Knives Out. That's actually available on Netflix, so that's a great thing. And then, of course, at mine, The Woman King, Nope, Until, kind of the same one. Black Panther, of course, Everything Everywhere All at Once. And then, of course, at the bottom of that top 5 is Top Gun Maverick. There's others. Oh, good gracious. Oh, you see, Mark? Thank you, Chrissy. Chrissy says she loved The Woman King. And we you know what? We haven't seen that one, Kevin. We haven't seen Avatar 2, The Way of the Water. I haven't seen that. And
and I
Michael,
won't. I didn't see the original Avatar, so sorry. I mean,
ooh, okay. All right.
I ended my relationship with blue people with the Smurfs.
What in the
The
world?
Smurfs
What?
were the last blue